Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. Hope you're doing well out there. But if not, too bad, we're doing more science. But if you have not seen this, or I've uploaded a short video, it's just the video previous to this one on my shorts channel, but it just shows you a spinning coin and how rhythm degenerating into vibration is the correct ontology to use. So what we're doing now is we're describing literal actual physical systems. Well, we have been, but it hasn't been specific enough for you to see. But now you can directly see rhythm degenerating into vibration. And you can basically ask yourself, are there any other words that exist to describe that physical process more specifically? And the answer is no. And so we're at complete reduction now, just really tidying things up. But we said, or we've proven that, all these things are proven. I try to present them as conjectures or walking you through the logic, but this stuff is done. And so you can't demonstrate the consistency of language as you've done it the first time when you've already done it, but it's not public. And so, but we've proven that languages are not unique. Syllables are, right? There's a finite amount of sounds you can make, and the way those sounds are iterated, you get accents or you get languages. That's why you have loan words from different languages in pretty much every language, right? But we got to the word appeal, right? If you appeal something, you're contesting it. If it's appealing to you, it's attractive, right? But appel, j'aime m'appelle. Right, so appeal and appel, one word in English, quote unquote, one word in French, quote unquote, really it's just an iteration of syllability, right? And so you see that appel versus appeal is just changing the letters, but they look very similar. The APPE is the same, and that AL to the EL is really the difference. Syllables are fundamental, not languages. Repeal, repel. Right, sensorality repels. If you reject something, if you censor something, you're repelling it. Repel, but how about if you're going down a mountain, if you have a rope and you're rappelling down a mountain, how do you spell that? Well, naturally, I spelled that R-A-P-E-L-L-E, which repel is a form of repel for rappel in French, but to call back, recall, probably more literally. But repel in English mean R-A-P-P-E-L. And so literally there the difference between repel, like go down a mountain on a rope, and repel, like call back in French, is literally just one L and one E. It's literally just that L-E ending syllable. And so that demonstrates that, languages are not unique. And that's just another poignant example. How does completeness relate to exactality? How can you get exact solutions when you have physical states that you can't know everything about? It's not even the right question to ask. Can you have a complete statement without knowing underlying states? Absolutely. I've already done it. It's been demonstrated. Proof by demonstration. How can we have certainty with inherent unknowables? But how can we have that? Again, just some sort of scale, or you call it normalization or renormalization, I guess is just a measurement. Can I say anything useful? How can we have certainty with inherent unknowables? Maybe provide more insight later, but can we? We already demonstrated that. What is the relationship of fractionality and fracticality? Fractals, mathematical structures representing physical systems that are indiscriminate of scale, which is everything, right? There's no different. There's no really big or really small. Absolutely, right? Relatively there is, but absolutely there is not. Fractions meaning a piece of something, fractals meaning consistent geometric structure. And again, we've talked about how you can't really break off something. Another bit of logic I might be missing there to progress that logic, or it's just complete. Again, like I said, I'm just tidying up these logical things. That's all I'm going to say there. But vibration does not accelerate. Right? Vibration does not move, rhythm moves. Both processes are cyclic. And so now we have to get to that cyclicity is regularity. Right? If something's regular, you have a routine. We'll get to that here in a second. But the real crux of now, and for our numerics and our physics, is what's the difference between regular and irregular. Because what we have, I'll just jump over to that now. Because I'm trying to do this in the order that it presents, but I can't find it, so we'll get back to that. But vibration does not accelerate. Sensorality is syllabilicality, right? Syllable, syllability, syllabilicality. So it adds that I. Again, I don't know how to formalize that, but removing and then adding back the I does something for our forms. Syllability, syllabilicality, syllability, silly. So sensorality is silly. But what is syllabilicality, right? Syllability is defined as the ability to be a syllable, but I don't like the word being, existing in there, right? It's not like a syllable wanted to be a syllable, it just is a structure of sound. Syllability, lability, liability. So right now we have two words, syllability and liability, where we have our natural definitions. We have a good amount of intuition. Liability, the ability to lie, gives you some sort of risk or some sort of potential downfall. Syllability, the potential to be a syllable, the functional aspect of being a syllable. We really like, so our intuition's right there. Now how do we just put the letters in the right order? But we have two words, again, clearly intuitively we know what they mean. We have forms of the words that we use, and in complete generality, syllability and liability, we've identified natural definitions. The ability, sensible syllable. Sensorality is sensibility. And so remember last time, I forget which one exactly it was, sensorality is separationality. We just preserved the pronunciation and changed the variable, the letter. We're doing the same thing here. Sensorality is sensibility, right? Correctly you spell it, quote unquote correctly you spell it with an I. But we're spelling it, it's on your screen, sensa with an A, sensibility. Again, just literally modifying the letters, but not modifying the pronunciation. So we are so entrenched in the axiom of sensorality at this point. Because like I said, our words are bounded and we're inserting syllables, right? And we've moved all of our forms of our words sensoritality so that it is the base. And so we're just iterating this and showing it, all of these pieces coming together. What is the relationship of utility and ability? Sensorality is the utility of ability. Just extending our definition. Rhythm and routine. What are the benefits? What are the detriments? Rhythm and routine limits uncertainty and improves output until it doesn't, right? Have you ever done the same thing over and over again? Edited a paper, done a math proof over and over again. Then you go for a walk, you go do something completely different. It changes your mindset. You're still the same human being using this in the same physical world, but you're in a different context. So you have to use different words, but it literally shifts your mind. And what you do is you recalibrate to a different section of ontology, right? If you're speaking in Spanish for a while, then you go back to English, you might be cumbersome for like 2 sentences or something. So there's that calibration, that switching over, right? You can't multitask. Multitasking is impossible. So when you're toggling between languages or just sections of ontology, you sift through all of the stuff that, like, the things that you think in your head when you're reading a book and you get it and you go to speak it and it's, you see that difference of internalizing information and then presenting information is different. And you feel, it's like a self-filtration of the words you actually know is when you switch ontology, switch languages, go for a walk, renormalize, reset, refresh. Everybody knows intuitively what that means, what that is. So sensorality is the utility of ability. Rhythm and routine, like I said, it's beneficial because everyone wants to form a routine, get into a workflow, you form a rhythm, you get into a flow, but then there is some sort of utility. Again, it's that interplay. Equilibrium is not maximum or minimums, it's maximum then minimums. It's, when you're bouncing your barbell to generate the most momentum physically, you're going, you're forming that rhythm. So it's some interplay of the two. But again, breaking rhythm, doing something new, gets you out of your comfort zone, right? A comfort zone is a routine. And so if people say, get out of your comfort zone, go date somewhere else, go to a different country. It's the physical intuition of the efficiency of breaking a routine. So both have benefits, both have detriments. Audacity and tenacity, both base city, right? People will say, oh, he has the audacity. Well, what's audacity? Yep, you're right, it's still sensorality. Because again, remember, we're just connecting all of these words to sensorality. You might be saying, well, how is it sensorality or why? It doesn't matter, it just is. It's connected, it's related. Which shouldn't be hard to imagine that all words are related because they all come from sounds. And it's just the more poignant or applicable proof you can generate is how big of a circle you can draw before you start spiraling down into a finalized reduction. And so I've cast my net, and now it's condensing into its final form. But what's audacity? Sensorality. The past is definite, so is our definition past tense. Again, we went explicitly, very poignantly, how we're We know exactly what we're solving now. We're solving what is sorality, and that will give us a definitive basis of what is sensorality, and then it'll give us a general open definition for sensorality with an S, that is, open, malleable, changes. It's defined related to other words. So again, the past is definite physically, like yesterday something definite happened, and so we have words in the past tense. So now we're almost certainly solving sensorality with a C, sorality in the past tense. Sword. Sensor, I am sore, sword. And then you say, well, what is sword? What is, if you censor something, in the past it was sensored. And so now we're just taking off that prefix sen, and now we have sword. S-O-R-E-D. And you probably just thought the word sword like S-W-O-R-D, which is its dichotomistic pair. And so you have sore, sword, sordid. So now again, we've put that base sorality in, I guess we have to have A, sorality, B, there it is, sword. Sore, sword, sordid. Right? Sore, you're physically uncomfortable, you're tender, we'll get to that in a second. Your sword, not really a word, but it's sensored, just that base. And then sordid is like bleak or grimy, or just Google it. But the point is it's well defined. And we've got that sensor, we got that form of the base in basing as a connection between two other words. Sorality as the base, but the letters T and D and not Y. Again, for the past tense, it's like a past, right? If you passed, like a test is P-A-S-S-E-D, but if it's in the past, it's T. And so, right, again, the letter Y, we've already covered the letter Y at the end, but what is the letter T and the letter D are typically the ending suffixes for the past tense, Y. We can now have a physical reason for all of these aspects of language that we do. Is tension a fundamental physical phenomenon? Well, surface tension is. So was tension? Yes. You just take away the adjective. So again, that's a direct, complete proof that tension is a fundamental physical principle. And it is, because people will say tension in physics, but they won't say here it's fundamental. Vibration, rhythm, tension. Those are the things you need. But how does sensation relate to tension? You can clearly, if you just look at the words, it clearly looks like you can start to see the words that are directly iterated close to one another. But how does sensation relate to tension? Right, if I tense my muscles, I'm priming myself for movement. I'm, condensing my energy or preparing for movement. And sensation, I'm feeling something. I'm taking in information. So sensation and movement, tension and movement. Tension clearly relates to movement. Sensation also relates to movement, but how? I don't know. What was the first word? Last episode we proved that verbs are the base of all words, because that would be the first thing you're articulating, information you're generating to somebody else in the woods is go, right? So that just gave away the answer. But the first word was go in verb, right? You meet somebody, you might go, ooh, ah, 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 make your presence known. But if you want them to get away from you, or you want to, this thing is not like me, I'm a caveman, what's this thing? No, go, right? Go. All right, so no might have been the first kind of word, but the first verb, okay, we'll make it, the first verb was go. And now look at that, right? We have a one-to-many counting system. Go, 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 get away from me. Go, go, get. Going, going, gone. But if go, get away, he went away, right? Go, get, went, right? So that past participles really reflect this one-to-many counting system that we have, and it's really, emergent from the stability of two physically, articulated through language and through mathematics as well. And so again, that's where I'm getting to the irregularity versus regularity. Regularity physically is very clear. Vibration, cyclic, it's a regular cycle. Rhythm, regular cycle, it degrades. Once an object is not moving in relation to somebody else, like my quarter on my table, it degenerates into vibration. It degrades into vibration. And so vibration and rhythm are both defined as regularity, rhythm doing work, vibration not doing work. Very clear. Again, that 30-second clip is a complete physical model. And
irregularity, right? All of the most common words in their conjugations are called irregular verbs. So the next kind of big conceptualization difference that we make is between regularity and irregularity. First it was between whole and fraction, now it's between regular and irregular. What's going on there? That's as far as I progress the logic. Tenderality is sorality. So if you're tender, you're sore. And that's our physical basis. Now look at the words, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, Q, R, S, natural pause and rhythm, T, U, V, right? And so why that natural pause is there, I'm not sure. But like we said, we've jumped around. Elemental P is a big chunk of sound that's pretty much the same in a lot of different alphabets. We can see the condensation to efficiency of all of these syllables, regardless of the word. But now what we're doing, because we're doing this derivation in English, and it's not, again, English is just ing. But point being is, all right, T comes, it comes after, T comes after S. I had to think about it, even though I just said it. Make fun of me, drop, don't say that. I'm gonna edit that because I'm the only reason I edit anything is just to not get bleeped on YouTube. But I'm a very animated person in real life. The T comes after S, after that natural break in rhythm. But range is subsequent to base, right? We've proved chronology, which is super simple but super important. Things happen in order. So we're trying to, an alphabet is a condensation of sound in reverse order. And so what can we say? Can we show some sort of condensation, meaning again, rhythm degenerating into vibration, like the words later on, or the letters later on in the alphabet condense or come back to, like again, the letter I representing the sound E. Can we relate that to the letter E? Just some sort of like A, B, C, D, E are the first 5, F, G up to the 7th. Again, there's the numeric identities we've discussed. And then like anything past that, does it like condense back to the base? How do we apply that to the alphabet? But then we write sequentiality is chronological. Things happen in order physically. Degradation is condensation, right? Does alphabetical order matter, right? Now that's a phrase people use. Put it in alphabetical order. So what is alphabetical order? Order of operations, alphabetical order. And so, right, what is alphabet? Right, alphabet is just the first 2 letters of the Greek alphabet. So now we're back to tautology. Right, and now to do work linguistically, we need to have a new logical definition. So I'm showing you our circle is now complete. Now we just need, and the final reduction is it's like a blink of an eye. Like 14 proofs will pop up and it'll be done. But we are so freaking close. But now our final thing, well, actually not even our final thing, but sensorality is alphabetical. But doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't mean anything. What do I mean it doesn't mean anything? Is alphabetical. It's just a letter, another letter, and then a suffix, right? And so like when I'm saying appel and gemapel is the same as appeal, or just different by a syllable, now we have an axiom that you clearly watch my logic make sense, and our definition is alphabeticality. And that's not a word. It's very clearly an amalgamation of other letters. And then a suffix. And so what is alphabeticality? Is there a natural alphabet? Meaning, is there a natural order of sound? And there has to be. I mean, that's when our large-scale evolution of language is condensing not to English, but to the most efficient order of these syllables. And so there's going to be a final alphabet, I guess, order of sound. I was going to say something else there, but I forgot. But there will be like a complete, the phonetic alphabet is kind of what linguists have tried to do, but linguists are so far behind logically, they don't have the chops to even get close. Nobody does. I mean, honestly, you see me upload 15 new fundamental proofs a day, casually. Nobody's even close to being able to do this stuff. But is there a natural order of sound? Yes. Will there be a finalized alphabet or like table, like an algorithm to calculate words? No. Like you always have the human intuition. That's why life exists. But there'll be some sort of solidified order of sound. Like the phonetic alphabet will be reduced substantially and it'll be completed. It'll be way more finalized. But now we can go back to one of our working definitions of sensorality. Sensorality is meaningless. Or you've never heard somebody say sensorality, right? What is sorality? Sensorality, literally all it is doing, and it's a variable, and it's preserving those syllables, right? It's not preserving the word, it looks like a word, but it's not. And so it's just, I'm connecting two common ideas that you know with this word you've never seen before, and then, like I said, we're going to break it down into syllables, and then it'll just form a new logical statement. And then, so sensorality is not a word, it's meaningless. But again, with that syllability of 5, those 5 syllables being odd, not being even, it's not going to condense completely. And so we'll be able to extend that logic. We'll be able to break our cycle and do something new. But we, again, like I said, we're axiomatizing sorality through sensorality of the C, through the past tense, soared. And so that's kind of where we're at there. We're so close. I mean, the pieces are all together. But again, I'm limited by time. I literally just have to let the time pass, not die, and this stuff comes to me. And there's so much more. You have to understand there's so much more. It's not like I'm over here grasping at straws for new material. Because everything I pick and derive personally is an intuitive, not simplification, but intuitive jump that I can't even formalize. But here's something interesting that I'm going to finish with. Well, we'll finish with something else. But demeaning is mean. And if you're being mean, if you're demeaning somebody's personality, their intelligence, you're being mean to them. Demeaning is mean, or mean is demeaning. But why I say that, and again, sorry if you can hear this little clock, I don't know why it randomly starts chirping, but we're almost done. But, so, right, we talk about double negation, right? I'm not happy is a cumbersome one saying I'm happy, right? You want to say I'm not happy as like, you're not super happy, but you're not upset. And so use that double negative because you're a quirky loser. Big old dorky brains out there. But now we have mean is demeaning, logically consistent. Nobody would say that's not true. But we have one negation, right? Mean, that's our base, that's a word, is demeaning, right? So averaging, right, remember, fundamentally you're telling someone they're basic or they're average if you're being mean. But mean is demeaning, just as connotation presents. Right, de is typically a prefix of negation. And so mean is demeaning. The prefix de in that context does not negate the meaning, which is interesting. It's like literally, it doesn't negate meaning. Right? So then you have like 3 different like words there, right? Mean, negative connotation. Meaning, neutral, just what does something mean? And then demeaning, back to negativity. So that's I don't know why that's super interesting. But what is the natural definition of sorality? And so in the same way we have that example of mean is demeaning, we're going to have sensorality is sensorious or soral or sword. Sword is sentient, or again, it will just come to me and it will be so poignantly obvious that there'll be no debate. Or I'll die and I won't finish the proof. But the point being is we have to have that with sorality now. We are very directly clear as what we are solving. So now let's do one final thing, right? Because we've defined the word, or the letters, the syllables, or the linguistics, how we represent a sound. So now but it has that dichotomy of pronunciation. So sorality, let's change that A sound. Sorality, sensorality. So now we're solving sorality, not sorality. All we did was change the pronunciation of the A, and now I'm going to go find different uses of the word soral, sorality, Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'll just keep plugging away until I make progress on that syllable. Because that's all I'm doing. But we were very, very close, obviously. And again, my name is Bradley Bowes, so I'm being profoundly and extensively tortured. I've been deprived of my constitutional rights. It has destroyed every aspect of my life and my existence. And people have just normalized. They just don't care. Words cannot come out of my mouth to generate the things that are required for me to have a basic life. So I hope you guys enjoy your free shit. Go watch your sports, play your games, have your families, and I'll do all the work. I'll do all the hard work while you lazy fucks get beautiful lives. You deserve it, I don't. Here's some more free shit. Enjoy.